All right. We're going to go through here. Let's get to, okay. Number 2, if you didn't notice, the last warm up was very helpful, right? Yeah. Okay, so same thing. I would pay attention. All right, the first question says to graph the inequality. Remember, inequalities are going to have solid or dashed lines. They're going to have shading above or below. We got to be careful. The first question to kind of lead us through this, what is the slope? Tell me. 2 or 3, very good. 2/3. And then what's the y-intercept? -6. Is this going to be a solid or dashed line? Dashed. How do we know that? Yeah, because there's not a solid line underneath. Okay, good. And are we going to shade above or below? Above. So we read from left to right. So from left to right, as we read that, we go into the alligator mouth. And so it is a greater than symbol, and greater than goes with above. All right, we got everything we need to know to be able to graph this. And this is also a good review for graphing lines because it's only 1 step different, really, or 2 steps different when we graph an inequality. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put the -6 first. And -6 is along the y-axis. So I'm going to go down here to -6 and I'm going to put a point. From my y-intercept, I am going to apply the slope. The slope is 2/3. That is up to right 3. Always right, always right, always right, always right. Okay, you have to go to the right. Right is right. Okay, so we're going to go up to, what if it was negative? No, you never go to the left. It is always right. If it is negative, you do what? Down. Okay, so the negative or positive tells you up or down. Never go left. Right is right. You have to go to the right. Never go left. I'm glad I asked that. I wanted to clarify that before the quiz. Okay, so we're going to go up to right 3. Up to right 3. Put a point. Up to right 3. Again, if it's negative, you go down. Never go to the left first. You have to make your pattern to the right first. I hope that cleared it up for some of y'all. Oh, I'm getting really quick with my line. It's dashed. Sorry. It's dashed. I was making it solid. It's dashed. Okay, I've got my dashed line. And then I have to shade above. So above is going to be all this right here. Your quiz, these questions are multiple choice. When they're multiple choice, you're basically checking, looking at the graph and seeing, because all of the equations look the same. The only thing that changes is the symbol facing left or right? Is there an underline or no underline? Y'all can do that all based on the line and where the shading is. So be careful. Mark answers off if they don't match. Like, it's really easy to see, should it have the underline or not? Because is it a solid line or a dashed line? So the ones that don't match, mark those answers off. And then when you only have 2 answers, that's 50-50 chance. Any questions over this one? Good. Moving on. Elimination and substitution. As promised, the ones on your quiz will be set up for the way I'm asking you to solve. And guess what? Over here on the board, right here on the side of the board, I'm not erasing that. So it's going to stay there. But when you have elimination, you're going to eliminate. And I'm going to tell you in the directions. Eliminate. So if you have elimination, you got to eliminate something. So what eliminates for this one? The X's eliminate. Yes. So we can mark them off. And then we combine. So we've got 6 minus 3 And then 6 plus 12. So we just got one step to get y by itself. Divide by 3. And we get y is equal to what? 6. Beautiful. All right, I know what y equals. Now I'm going to take y and I'm going to substitute it into one of the other equations. Which one do you want to use? Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. Just pick one. How about which one do you want to pick it into? Okay, the bottom one. I love it. So plugging into the bottom one, if I write this and leave myself a space for y, so I get 6x minus 3 space for y equals 12. And then I'm going to take y equals, which we just figured it out, it's 6. So I took this and I'm plugging it in right to this equation. So I'm leaving myself a space. So I've got to distribute right here. So I get 6x. 6 times 3 is 18 equals negative 12. Two-step equation. What do I do first? Yep, add 18. What's 18 minus 12? 6, very good. And then my very last step is to divide by 6. And what does x equal? What's anything divided by itself? Good. Thank you. I guess I was writing my equal sign and forgot to put the underline, and I guess I thought it was negative. Don't mind me. So this is going to all change. How about that? Look at y'all. Thanks for stopping class. Sometimes people are afraid to stop class. Just let me keep going and going. This is what I was telling you, Aiden. Smart kids make silly mistakes. I do this all the time. I do this all the time. 30 divided by 6. What do we get? 5. No wonder y'all started getting quiet. Y'all were looking up there with crazy eyes. Like, what is she doing? All right. We know X and Y. We just have to make sure at this point that we write it correctly. X has to go first. So it's 5, 6. On your quiz, this is an open-ended question. If you go through and you find X and you find Y, but you don't write it as a point, I'm going to take off points. And I know that seems petty, but I have to know that you know how to write a coordinate. Also, I will take off points if you don't put parentheses, because if you don't put parentheses, it's just two numbers separated by a comma. It's not a point. Y'all know how to do this. So don't cut corners. Y'all know how to do this. The next question, substitution. It will be set up for substitution. So we have an equation that's either X equals or Y equals. In this case, it's a Y equals equation. Beautiful. I circle it. Some of y'all don't, but I circle it on purpose because it helps me in step 2. So I circle it. And then I draw an arrow to where I'm going to substitute. So I'm plugging that in right here to the Y. Okay, it's going to go right to that Y. So now I rewrite it. So X plus, leave myself a space, equals 6. I'm going to plug in what's in the circle, 3x minus 2. You passed. You never have to do it again. So go right next door and tell Mr. Hall. Just take your computer right next door so they can enter that in and get you out of ACE. Good job. Yes. Okay, let's see if we get the same answer. So from here, I don't have anything to distribute. So we've got our directions up here on the left of the board. Substitute, distribute, combine like terms, two-step equation. We just substituted. There's nothing to distribute, so we're fine. Combine like terms. So I have two x terms. I have 3, and then what's the number in front of x? There is no number. 1, so I have 4x when I put it together. 4x minus 2 equals 6. Two-step equation. What do I do first? Yep, I need to add 2 to the other side. Beautiful. And then my very last step, divide by 4, and I get x is equal to 2. Beautiful. From here, the reason I like to circle it at the very beginning is because that tells me where I plug in for the second time. So I'm going to take this, and I already know which equation that I plug it into. I'm going to plug it into where I circled at the beginning. Every time it'll work like that. Whatever you circled to plug in, like that's the equation you plug back into. So when you do substitution, it does matter which equation you plug it back into, because why would you want to do extra work for yourself here? It's easier to plug it into the other one. So I'm going to plug that one in. I've got y is equal to 3, leave myself a space for the x, minus 2. I'm plugging in what I just got. I just got x is equal to 2, and I'm plugging it in right there. So solving this, I got 3 times 2 is 6 minus 2. What is y equal to? Beautiful. Again, doing this part is like almost correct. I'm probably going to take off a point or two if you don't list it as a solution. And I put it exactly like this on the quiz. I tell you solution as x comma y. So you should get it right. 2, 4, and make sure you put parentheses. Again, I show you how to write a point right here. Everybody should know how to write a point. We should do it amazingly. Any questions over elimination or substitution? Even if you feel like you struggle with these problems, don't skip them. Do something. Try. I can give you some partial credit for trying. I can't give you anything for putting nothing. You got to try. Moving on. This next question, it is graphing. And guess what? Your equations are going to be set up to graph. They're already going to be in y equals form. So all we got to do is graph them. The slope and the y-intercept. So they're in that order. The slope is -4. The y-intercept is 4. -4, 4. The slope is 3/2, and the y-intercept is -7. Halves, 7, -7. All right, from here, if I go to graph it, this first one, you always have to start with your y-intercept. So I go put a point at 4. My slope is -4. I could also write that as a fraction because it's the same thing if I put it over 1. So if you like to make slopes as fractions, that's fine. So what does the negative tell me to do? Down. So I will go down 4 and then what? Right. Thank you for nobody telling me left. To the right. And then I'll go down 4 again to the right. And then plot some points, connect the dots. Okay, connect the points. Put arrows on both sides. That's important. If you don't draw a good line, you'll get points taken off. You've got to plot points, make a solid line, and put arrows on both ends. It's very simple. And yes, I will take off points. So yes, you've got to do it correctly. My second line, the y-intercept is at -7. I'll do this one in green. The y-intercept is at -7. So I put a point down here at -7. This one, the slope is 3/2. So what do I do with the 3? Up 3 and then right 2. Bam, I already hit my intersection. Up 3, right 2, Up 3, right 2. And then I'm going to connect the dots again. I want to see that you plotted points. Do you see my lines? Do you see how wiggly they are? Even if your lines are like that, I don't care. As long as you have dots showing me where they're supposed to go. So I see that you thought it out, even if you are not the master at making straight lines, but you can also use your ID as a straight edge. Everybody's got their ID, so you can use it as a straight edge. But from here, we've got to identify that intersection. Do you see where they intersect? Yes, they intersect. And what is that point called? 2, -4. Please put parentheses. Any questions over graphing? Super.